Good morning, and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle, and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Go ahead and take a look at some pitching for today, the 2nd of October. It is Thursday. We do have 3 Game 3s ahead of us today. Winner or go home for the season, advance to the divisional round is in play here. What are we going to do? It's a tough one, as we saw pitching being limited quite a bit by managers. So this is a first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. Over on FanDuel, I probably can't really cut my pool down, given that it's just 3 games, and there's a huge question mark across all 3 of them. But based on the pitching names that we do have, you're able to get whatever you want over on FanDuel. I'm pretty sure. I haven't tried to build a lineup yet, but I assume that's going to be the case based on their pricing traditionally. But we're here to talk pitching. From my understanding, weather's going to be completely fine everywhere. I don't think the wind's going to really be blowing in at Wrigley. If it is, it's slight, I want to say. Let me bring that up on my other monitor. But what are we going to do at pitching is the biggest question, given that managers are quickly going to the bullpen. Even the managers that were up 1-0 yesterday quickly went to the bullpen, which did not make sense to me. The Yankees allowed Rodon to go deep and even dig through trouble. Even Yamamoto last night for the Dodgers went deep in that game. So, if managers allow pitchers to go, good things can happen. Bringing up the Wrigley weather, it does look like it's going to be blowing to the left field corner at around 7 to 10 miles an hour. So, decent little spot maybe for hitting, sneaky spot, if you will. Especially considering San Diego doesn't strike out all that much. But how are we going to attack this slate? Very interesting. The 2 rookies facing off between the Yankees and Boston. Super interesting, but it's a big-time spot. Are they going to come through? I have a feeling it's going to be a all hands on deck. I mean, it's going to be for sure. But if it comes to that in that game, Boston has to have the advantage. The Yankees' bullpen is atrocious. Now, I think the Yankees could maybe have Will Warren available as a long man, too. So, a real starter, maybe Luis Gil. I'm not sure. I haven't read too much about their scenario. See if they list it under Schlittler. I'm not sure if Gil or Warren were left off the roster. That's something we're going to want to look into as well here. Did not make any starts against Boston. So, kind of early. Super impressive in his short stint. His first 2 starts were better, but big-time K guy. So it's very interesting there. Let's go over to the sportsbook to try to get an idea of which pitcher we want to maybe be interested in. The 2 best K-props on the slate are Cam Schlittler and Jack Flaherty. Flaherty's slightly over 4.5. Schlittler's under 5.5. So Schlittler's sitting with the top K-prop. Very interesting. Jack Flaherty with the second best one is also very interesting. Early with his big K numbers, only at a 3.5. That's going to probably tell me that when we get to the outs recorded, we might see a lower number on him. Jameson Taillon on 2.5. That's potentially just because San Diego doesn't strike out all that much. Darvish with the 3rd best K-prop. That's kind of interesting. Slate's Sony with just behind Darvish. I would have thought Sony might have been in the 3rd spot, to be honest. But I just don't know if I can get to Darvish right now. Let's take a look at the outs recorded numbers to get an idea. Connolly early, over 8.5. The lowest outs recorded prop on the slate. So they're basically saying he's going 3 innings. Basically, I mean, it looks like it's going to move to 9.5 based on those numbers. Schlittler does look like he's going to move to 12.5 if you take the same thinking there. Over 4 innings. I mean, I like it. I'm interested in that, but it's still tough. Any struggles, like, just going to instantly go to the pen. Both pitchers in the Cubs-Padres game at 9.5 as well. Or I guess they're 1 out more than early. Are they going to go pitch into the 4th inning is the biggest question. Man. That's really low and gross. Detroit, Cleveland, Flaherty 11.5. Yeah, I mean his K-prop would probably lean towards why he's the second longest, I guess, in terms of performance. Slate's Sony just right behind him, not right behind him, but behind him, in a distant third. Those numbers are not great when we're trying to build lineups with 2 pitchers on DK. Not the best for pitching or picking one pitcher for FanDuel. I think FanDuel you just end up with Schlittler or Jack Flaherty and just hope for a bunch of strikeouts to help. I mean, it's really what you're looking for because you're basically never getting a quality start out of the pitching options today, given the scenarios. So you just want to rack up strikeouts because there's a good chance that all 6 pitchers are out before the end of the 5th inning. Maybe not a good chance, but there's a pretty solid chance that none of these 6 starting pitchers qualify for a W today. And we can look at the record a win. Curious to see if they even have any numbers up for this. They do not. It looks like it. They do. For 1 game. Jack Flaherty, second longest outs prop, or largest outs prop on the slate, and he's plus 506 to earn a W. Where in a regular season scenario, like if he's favored in the game, he's probably plus 140 or so in this game, 145, 150 to earn a W. So that tells you, like, you're at 3.5 times less likely to earn a W in this matchup, being that it's postseason. Hits allowed prop is very interesting. The 3 games are basically all at 4+. I mean, early's gonna move to 4+. Might as well just move it there now. 4+ hits. Jameson Taillon with the lowest, or is the most likely to give up 4+ hits. Early, the least likely. That's probably because he's going to pitch less, but very interesting. You just kind of look at these props like, how do we build out? How do we predict what's going to happen? Hits allowed number. Ciccone and Flaherty basically the same. Yu Darvish is basically the same. Taillon. So San Diego probably going to have some hits early. Definitely going to give up some hits. Schlittler, the best odds, and they just moved to even better for being under 3.5. Very interesting. I wonder if that changed his outs recorded number. It did. It just moved to 12.5 while we were here. So some live updating. And I would guess that this plus 132 in that movement over the next hour or two is probably going to move to like plus 120, plus 115, something like that. It looks like there's steam coming to that number. It's very interesting. But we also might see that move the other way over the hour before, leading up to first pitch as well. A lot of time to move that one. We're looking at 10 hours out from start time. So, spent a lot of time looking at the odds. What are we going to do here? Detroit, Cleveland. Like I mentioned, Flaherty is favored. Flaherty has the experience in this scenario, but he hasn't been that great against Cleveland this year. Not giving up hits, but plenty of base runners, given everything. Strikeouts have been there, but he's 0-3. And his numbers on the road have been pretty bad, even though his strikeouts have been solid. And he doesn't give up as many home runs, but he's just allowing a lot more base runners. He has 2 starts above 15 fantasy points since the beginning of August. Not the greatest trends. Sony on the other side, some boom bust. He's got some single digits ones. In that same stretch, he only has 2 performances over 18 fantasy points in a similar stretch to Flaherty. But his overs have been really strong. But he also had some not so great spots. He's been better against Detroit than Flaherty's been against Cleveland. I like Sony a little bit more for upside in the matchup. Detroit can strike out a bit more than Cleveland. I think Flaherty's the better pitcher, but I think I'm going to go with the home team in that one. I'm going to have Sony slightly above Flaherty. Definitely want to use them both. San Diego, Chicago, like I mentioned, wind blowing out or to the corner in left field. James Tyon actually has looked pretty decent. His 8 strikeouts against a team in St. Louis that generally didn't strike out all that much. Very interesting, considering he hadn't top 4 since June 12th. So, very interesting there. Is decent against San Diego the one time he faced them. He has been at his best when at home. Not really allowing a ton of base runners, so that's very interesting. Home run rate actually is lower at home as well. It's just super tough with San Diego not striking out all that much. Putting the ball in play a lot is not an ideal thing for the Cubs, especially in a win or go home game. On the other side, Darvish gives up home runs, and the Cubs can hit plenty of home runs. Just 2 starts over 17 fantasy points since the beginning of August as well. So similar to Flaherty and Sony. His numbers on the road have been really bad. Really bad. So, he may end up with a short leash, and you could see Michael King as a long man behind him or a piggyback. They could definitely go Darvish 3, King 3 or 4 innings or 3 innings to get to that bullpen. The one thing for the Cubs that might benefit them is I'm not sure that Mason Miller or Adrian Morejon are going to be available today. A couple of innings yesterday, plus both pitched in Game 1 as well. There's a chance that neither of them is available. I think that helps out the Cubs quite a bit. Morejon being a left-hander and dominant the way he was in All-Star definitely helps out the left-hand power at the top half of the lineup for the Cubs. And then Mason Miller as just phenomenal. He might not be in there. That opens things up for the Cubs a little bit more. I mean, they aren't the lowest 2 pitchers on my list because I think Connolly Early is based on his props. But I think Darvish might be at the bottom. I just don't like the spot for him. Schlittler, going to be near the top. I love the upside. It's a dangerous spot. It is a rookie pitcher in a win or go home game. Been pretty good at home. Walks, a few more base runners when at home. Early, definitely flashes big time upside, but road game, he made 4 starts at the major league level. I have a feeling it's a few innings and then out. And Bayo not pitching very deep yesterday kind of hurt that bullpen a little bit more. Things kind of line up for the Yankees a little bit, minus the fact that their bullpen is atrocious. So, Schlittler going to be my second favorite pitcher on the slate. Actually, first, he's going to be my top pitcher. I'm putting him ahead of the Sony and Flaherty combination. So, there we have it. There's a first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will drop links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And I will drop the link to our merch store as it's not loading here. You can check out my design. Best of luck, everybody.